Let me be straight with you right out of the gate. Waterbury is a big city, and like most big cities, it comes with some big city problems: crime, drugs, traffic. That is the reality. I know this city. Waterbury has a heart, it has grit, it has history that most Connecticut cities would kill for. So today I'm going to give you 3 areas that I personally would choose if I were moving to Waterbury, Connecticut. And then I've got an honorable mention at the end that I think is going to surprise some of you. No sugarcoating, no agenda, just what you actually need to know. The first area is one of my favorites. It's Country Club Road area. If you've never driven through this part of Waterbury, you need to do it before you make any decisions. Because if you go in with a certain expectation and you turn onto Country Club Road, you're going to stop and say, wait, this is Waterbury? Yes, it is. This is where you'll find the larger colonials, the tree-lined streets, the well-maintained yards, the houses with real square footage, real character, real history. The kind of homes that in Cheshire or Southbury or Middlebury are common. They'd be 525 in those towns, 575, pushing 600,000. This part of Waterbury, you could find these houses in the 320s to 350s. Families land here for a reason. It has genuine suburban feel, even though you are technically inside a city. You get the benefit of Waterbury's location, close to Route 8, close to 84, close to hospitals, without being in the thick of everything. Not all Waterbury schools are the same, so wherever you're deciding to land, make sure you do your due diligence and look up the schools. We have a great resource that you can check out for that. Do that research before you buy anywhere, and I mean anywhere, not just here. Now, I have to be transparent about the mill rate because this is one thing that always comes up when people talk about Waterbury. Waterbury's mill rate for real and personal property for 2026 is 44.98. That is definitely going to affect your monthly payment. You get towns right next door like Watertown where it's only 30, Wolcott where it's 35, Naughty it's 39. Waterbury's taxes are way higher than their neighbors. But here's what I need you to do. Do not look at the mill rate in isolation. Look at it against the purchase price. A $330,000 house in Waterbury at that mill rate is going to produce a lower monthly payment than a $500,000 house in Watertown at a lower mill rate. Run the actual numbers before you decide that the taxes are going to kill the deal. Because a lot of times, the money you're saving on the house, it averages out. The country club section is the area for a buyer who wants space, they want character, and they want to feel like they're in a neighborhood, but they're not willing to pay $600,000 for it. Real quick, if you want to know specific streets inside the country club area that I would target versus the ones I would avoid, this is the kind of block by block knowledge that the experts at Dave Jones Realty bring on a daily basis to our clients. Go to our search site and look at all the properties and reach out to one of our agents. Area number 2 is Town Plot in the East End. This is for 2 types of buyers. The first-time buyer who has been priced out of every other Connecticut town, and the investor who's still trying to find a market where the numbers actually work still. Connecticut's statewide median home price is well north of $400,000, and Waterbury's is still coming in at $270,000. Town Plot can get you in that range. You can find houses still in the $250,000 range for a legitimate 3-bedroom single-family house in Connecticut. It's almost impossible to find anywhere else. Town Plot, you can still do it. Now, let me tell you what Town Plot actually is, because the name doesn't tell you much. It's a residential neighborhood with real ownership culture. People here aren't renters passing through. These are families that have been on the same block for 20, 30, or 40 years. It's a sense of investment and community that you can feel as soon as you walk around. The housing stock tends to lead towards traditional side, some 2 families, some 3 families, Cape Cod, smaller colonials. Not every house has been updated. Some of them will need work. And this is actually a feature for the buyer who's willing to put in some sweat equity and build value over time. Is every street and town plot the same? Absolutely not. I've said this before and I'll keep saying it. In a city like Waterbury, specific streets matter, specific blocks matter. You do not just buy a town, you don't just buy a neighborhood, you buy a location within that neighborhood. And that's why working with someone who knows it will make it all different. For the investor, this is a pocket in Waterbury where rent to price ratios still make real sense. I've had buyers get into multifamily properties in an area and had cash flow from day one. This is something you can't say about most of Connecticut right now. With interest rates where they are, finding a property that generates positive cash flow immediately is genuinely rare. Town Plot still offers that window, but it's closing as the prices rise. If you are a first-time buyer who's been watching the market for 2 years and waiting for the prices to come down, they didn't come down. Waterbury's up 50% while you've been waiting for that interest rate to come down. The buyers who moved in 2021 are sitting on equity, and you are now competing against more people for the same inventory. The time to move was 2 years ago. The second best time is right now. I want to stop right here for a second. If you've made it this far into the video, you are clearly thinking about Connecticut real estate. Maybe you're relocating from out of state and trying to figure out which Connecticut town makes sense. Maybe you're a renter who's so done paying somebody else's mortgage every month. Maybe you're an investor who's watched other markets dry up and you're looking for where the value still lives. Whatever brought you here, this is the conversation I have every single week with real buyers in the market. And here's what I tell every single one of them. The difference between a great purchase and a bad one in Waterbury is almost never about the city. It's about the block, the specific street, and knowing which blocks to pursue and which ones to walk away from. It's not something you're going to find on Zillow. It's information that comes from years of being in this market. My family's been connected to Waterbury for decades. I was born in Waterbury. I went to high school in Waterbury. The city's personal, not just professional. If you want someone in your corner who can tell you the exact space that might be right for you, let's put a plan together. Area number 3, Bunker Hill. This one is specifically for the buyer who needs easy in and easy out of Waterbury, the commuter. The person who works in Hartford and wants more house for less money, the buyer who needs Route 84 or Route 8 to be essentially out the door quick. Bunker Hill sits elevated above the rest of the city, and that's physically separating it from downtown. You can feel it. The streets up there are quieter. There's more breathing room. Yes, you're in Waterbury, but you're not in the middle of everything. That comes with being in a dense urban core. The housing stock here leans towards traditional ranch homes, split levels, Cape Cods, solid, honest homes that were built for people who lived in them hard. Some are updated and move-in ready. Some need cosmetic work. The price points are some of the most accessible in the city, which makes it the right conversation for the buyer who's prioritizing the monthly payment. The commuter angle is real. From Bunker Hill, you could get to Route 84 in just minutes. It'll connect you to Hartford to the northeast, Danbury and Westchester line to the southwest. Route 8 takes you down straight to Naugatuck, Shelton, and Derby into the valley. If you work in any of those corridors and are paying $1,800 a month for rent, buying in this part of Waterbury and owning your own payment is an argument you need to start having. The city's amenities are still close. You have Bank Street with some great restaurants. The Palace Theater is one of the most underrated venues in the state. We went there last month to see a comedian. It was an awesome time. You have St. Mary's Hospital, Waterbury Hospital, both operate in the city. You're not giving up access to anything by going there, and you're just getting more house and more quiet for the same money. Now I'm going to talk about my honorable mention that I promised, and for me, this one is personal, and it is the East Mountain section of Waterbury. This is the part of Waterbury that borders Prospect. It sits on elevated terrain on the eastern edge of the city, and it feels completely different from the image of what most people have when they hear Waterbury. This is where my in-laws choose to put down their roots. They've never left. That tells you something. East Mountain has East Mountain Park, East Mountain Reservoir, East Mountain Golf Course. When you're up there, you feel like you're in a completely different section of Waterbury. It has green space. It has views. It has the kind of setting that makes you forget what city you're technically inside of. And the amenities around East Mountain are genuinely excellent. We have Brass City Bistro Restaurant. It's a legitimate sit-down, amazing restaurant with huge portions. It's the kind of place you actually want to bring people. You have Kitchen Cabinet Outlet in that corridor, which is the best spot to go to get your cabinets for your new house. You have a Costco close by. You have a BJ's, all the big box necessities that make daily life easier. And you have the Brooklyn Bakery. If you've never had a Brooklyn Bakery donut, I don't know what to tell you, except it is a thing that you need to experience. East Mountain does not always show up on the lists people put together about Waterbury because it doesn't fit the narrative. It's not distressed. It's not up and coming. It's just solid. It's established. It's a beautiful part of the city that has more layers than people bother to look for. The reason it's an honorable mention instead of top 3 is simply availability. Homes in East Mountain don't turn over that much. When people get there, they stay there. My in-laws are proof of that. But when something does come up in the corridor, close to Prospect, close to the park, close to the golf course, you need to move on it. Don't wait. Here's what the data says about Waterbury in plain language. 832 homes sold in 2025, up 9.5% from the year before. The median home price was up 8%. That's up 48% from 2 years ago. And there's only 2 months of supply. It's a seller's market inside a city most buyers are still sleeping on. The buyers who moved in 2021 have a ton of appreciation. The buyers who waited for prices to fall are competing against more and more people with less inventory. The mill rate at 44.98 is not hiding, but price to value in those neighborhoods like Country Club section, Town Plot, Bunker Hill, East Mountain, it holds up when you run the full monthly payment and the math for what you're getting for square footage. And I will tell you 100%, the city is not for everyone. I've said that from the start, and I meant it. It's a big city, and it comes with big city realities. But for the buyer that does their homework and knows where to go, someone who actually knows the market, Waterbury still has value. It's genuinely hard to find anything like it in Connecticut. If you want to see the full pros and cons of Waterbury, I have an actual breakdown video on exactly that. Click this right here and I'll meet you over there right now.